Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of The Amazing Spider-Man issue 19. Yeah, and pretty cool issue, because we do get Spidey and Black Cat doing some stuff in this issue. Now granted, they're not fighting ninjas, and Felicia's saying, like, worst date ever. Wait till we get into the actual issue of how that kind of goes on. So, we pretty much start off, since it kind of gives us a lowdown of pretty much, if you've just been following the Spidey issues like I have, kind of what was going on with Chasm and all that, and how we're now out of the whole dark web. And we see that Spidey and Felicia are like fighting these Scorcher people dudes, and she's calling Peter out for like how he wordsmithed what the thing was. It's like, oh, and you said like you offered to warm me up on a cold night. It's like, you wouldn't have come if I told you what the hell was going on. And Pete's like, yeah, my life's kind of good at the moment, which is very rare. And he then kind of elaborates, like saying it's not perfect, but it's a solid good. He came up with a good solution, and Osborn's like, yeah, it doesn't suck. It's like, oh, all right. His Spidey game's back on point, and folks have seemed to notice. We do have some people throwing snowballs at him, but then he avalanches them, and they're like, yeah, Spidey! And that stuff's going pretty well with him and Felicia, which is interesting. Like, I'm usually more partial to MJ, but I'm interested to see where this can go with Pete and Felicia, because depending upon who's writing and how their kind of chemistry goes, I'm alright with it, and this is working pretty well. And Pete's like, yes, I don't mind being paid in cocoa, and she's like, that's why you're poor. And she's talking about like taking a weekend off, and Pete's always like, kind of iffy on it. You know, evil doesn't usually chill, but Spidey does need a break, having to dealt with the demon invasion and everything. And let's see. It's funny saying that the city won't fall apart without Spider-Man for one weekend, especially since New York's got so many heroes. I mean, you just let your peeps know that you're going to take a little break. And he's like, I can come up with some reasons. Do any of those reasons involve the words power and responsibility? And she brings up that she knows about a ski lodge with silk sheets. And he's like, all right. And then he's like, Felicia is trying to kill me as she's driving and everything during the winter with the top down. And she's like, convertible, you drive with the... One doesn't keep a convertible to drive with the top up. There's so much to still teach you about the finer things in life. And Pete's like, frostbite? And then telling him to use the seat warmer. And then she asked kind of what he told Aunt May. And he pretty much did about like an engineering convention. And then May pretty much saw through it. Hope you and Felicia have a nice time. Don't forget to wear a raincoat. And I love the word smithery. It's like, yeah, she just told him, make sure you got condoms if you do anything. And Pete's like, God damn it! Just... really good writing. And then evidently she backed cookies too, and I'm like, yeah, that's why Aunt May is awesome. And then we see that Felicia is standing up in the driver's seat as Pete's like, sweet Jesus! And he's talking about how his life's turning a corner and seeing what's going on. But then, of course, Spidey and Felicia's luck has come into this, and Pete's like, my life is a living hell. As the same ski lodge they went to is the same ski lodge that MJ and Paul are at. And how it's just an awkward fucking thing. Pete's pretty much calling it a coincidence. MJ's not laughing. Felicia's like, yeah, listen, I'll take the hit on this one. It was my idea. And then Paul brings up that it was a snapshot coupon. And she's like, yep, targeting marketing wins again. And Paul's like, I'm deleting that app tonight. And Felicia's like, I'm throwing my phone away. It's like, yes, you... It's funny. I love how they use this to this kind of situation of targeted marketing and everything like that, and that's exactly the kind of weird shit that would happen. Like, yep, that works. Pete's, of course, trying to be like, yeah, we're all adults, we're all friends, let's not let this weird shit screw over the romantic weekends. And Pete's like, yes? With a question mark, and she's like, yeah, this is platonic. And, of course, she's telling Pete to stop holding his robe closed. She's seen you naked at anyone. She's already seen you naked, and Paul's like, okay. Talking about leaving dinner and everything. MJ's bringing up that Pete's like stalking a person, and he's like, there's no stalking. I mean, not this time. Yes, in the past, but. And of course, Pete's like, I don't want to ruin your guys' weekend. It was a kooky coincidence. And if you want us to leave, we'll go. But then his robe falls off, and we see that he's wearing here kitty kitty boxers. And then they start hitting with him. He's like, no, 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 no. And you're like, you're going to sprinkle catnip on the comforter? A chilled bowl of milk is more his style. Classy. That's your man, Felicia. And then there's like some rumbling and shit going on. It's like, holy shit. And Pete, of course, I love his joke where it's like, I'm so embarrassed the world shook. Doubtful. Are we tingling? No. No immediate danger, but I know that rumble. And then, of course, like, you guys enjoy your weekend. We're going to go upstairs and, like, deal with what's kind of going on. Paul brings up, like, the novelty boxers, and MJ says that, like, his are cuter. And then he asks if she's okay. It's like, alright, we'll have to see how that kind of works. And then they, like, go up a mountain road and everything. And Pete's been, like, talking about, like, earthquakes and, like, the Shockers kind of stuff. And why he's pretty sure it's, like, the Shocker doing all this kind of stuff. I've been talking since we left, haven't I? Spider-splaining literally told me what an earthquake was. Twice. And I let you because I know that scene Mary Jane sent you into a spiral. And I'm like, damn. Like, that's really cool character development and everything. Of, like, yes, Felicia knows that, like, when Peter gets into, like, weird headspaces, he usually, like, vomits shit. Like, just talks about it. And she kind of let him. And I really liked that we got her explaining that. And then, of course, she's talking about how she likes MJ, she's the attraction and everything, and she's a grown-up, and tells him to just admit that he's still carrying a torch for her. Now Pete's like, I don't know if I want to do that with your claws so close to my jugular. And she brings up interesting points of, like, you have to call a thing by name before you can get past it. All relationships thrive or fail by a measure of trust, Spider. Trust me with the truth, even if you don't trust yourself. And I'm like, that is good and solid relationship advice. Especially when dealing with certain kind of stuff like that. Because sometimes you will have feelings for someone regardless of what kind of goes on. Even if you do move on, there will be certain kind of feelings. And the thing is, you got to acknowledge them to then move past them, as Felicia says. It's like, yeah. And as Pete's about to, like, comment, shit starts going real. And it's like, what the fuck's with the rabbit? And it's like, found our shocker? Yes. And we've got someone shouting, kill the wabbit, like Elmer fucking Fudd. And then she, like, hits at him like, oh, that explains why you're such a big fella. You've got an extra 50-year-old crammed into that millennial body making jokes, as we see pretty much. Now, granted, at first I thought it was the art style being kind of weird. Now, granted, I've enjoyed the art style. It's a different kind of one than I'm used to, and I like the way that they're able to, like, do faces and everything. Now, granted, this is an action scene, so I'm like, what the fuck is up with Doc Ock, Scorpion, Goblin, like, Vulture and Shocker? What the fuck's kind of going on? And then she's kind of, like, fighting them, saying, like, outdated kind of shit, like Bazinga and all that, taking down the Vulture. But then she gets hit by Mysterio telling her to sleep. That's legit creepy, dude. Not gonna lie. 3 drops of Terror P out of 5. Hate to be that guy, but it's actually duck season. So, as we get them... Wow. And Spidey and Felicia start getting into there. As Felicia makes the thing, it's like, upstate New York was so quiet before the hipsters invaded. But the thrift stores carry much better merch. Nice fit, lady. And Rabbit's like, what the fuck's kind of going on? And of course, they're like, is this a Sinister Six reunion? Doc would never go shirtless. Self-image issues. The dude is feeling himself. This dude is feeling himself big time. New objective: crush the spider, skin the cat. And then of course she's like, time out. And they're like, that actually worked. What the fuck's kind of going on here? And then they're like, these aren't paid actors. They're the real deal. Excuse me. And then we see Kareem, I mean, like, hey, Spider-Man. And I love that Kareem keeps popping up. I like this introduction of, like, paying off this kind of relationship with Spidey and Kareem. And how are things going? Not great all of a sudden. And the people are like, are we in trouble? No, baby, we're cool. Spidey's cool. I am. Humble brag. What the hell is going on here? And we learn that it's a gathering of the best and brightest minds of the generation. It's the most synergistic launch party for a startup ever conceived. So essentially what Rabbit and Kareem have done is all of that kind of villain tech that they've got, they're essentially making advanced, it's basically glorified paintball, Webby. And it's like, yeah. So the weird thing is, I don't like the villains like selling tech so that other people can do this kind of stuff. Now granted, this is still morally gray, but it's like, hey, they're using it and just doing kind of cosplay stuff, and it's like, okay, as long as you know what you're doing. However, we get towards the end of this issue and it's like, there are safeties that you kind of need to do. But evidently this tech has been upgraded and modified to include the latest safety features, so, but then Spidey's like, shocker caused an earthquake 10 miles away. A glitch. That was fixed, and, this dude's got magic hands. Ew, you could seriously eat with that happening? I had dinner plans, but something went wrong. Moving on! And it's like, Spidey, yeah. But we see, the Rabbit kind of going off with, Mysterio. Let's see. And then, of course, Spidey's, like, talking to Kareem to see if he's, like, okay with this whole kind of scenario. And he's like, I'm just doing what I'm told keeps me alive. This is not what I was told. We're supposed to sell the tech, give Tombstone his money, and get back to usual. That's actually not better, but continue. And it's funny, because then they start getting into, like, a science off about, like, the different kind of aspects of the suit, and then they're talking about Spidey's kind of stuff. And he's like, software guy, right? And talking about how he doesn't use these certain kind of things because would either weigh 1,000 pounds or be a block of ice for compressed gas to work. And then Felicia's talking to him, like, nerding out with entitled felons. Adorable. I'll tell you all about it once we determine the crime status here, okay? And Kareem's like, listen, hosting parties for rich boys and girls to play supervillain ain't my job. I know I don't got the right, but I need some backup here. Tombstone finds out about this side gig and we're screwed. But she's like, Rabbit's like, he's not gonna find out. How's my face? Flushed with passion. And then Felicia's like, shit, this is a great business model. Why sell the tech when you can rent it out over and over? And I'm like, oh god, that would be even fucking worse. And be like, if you essentially made things that were not the thing, like, but granted, you have to understand how the tech works. So yes, this is pretty bad, but it's not as bad as like, hey, you crazy, unstable person, here's the full-on tech. Granted, these are pretty smart people who could potentially unlock the tech and be like, fuck it, bitch, I got the damn thing now. And Rabbit does rightfully say that, like, those looking for a thrill are less of a safety hazard than, like, the crime-oriented assholes. And then Spidey, of course, rightly points out, until one of them gets hungry for more than war games. And then talking about how the unspoken rules, like if a customer gets handsy, they lose their hands. It's like, God. And of course she's thinking that they'd make 10 times what they would do from a sale, and that they'd be winning everywhere. And Spidey's like, we're not going to let them do this, right? And Felicia's like, of course not, but this caviar goes for $1,000 an ounce, so let's humor them until I'm full. I'm like, yeah, that kind of fits with Felicia. Of course, they're then trying to toast their CEO. They're trying to find him, but then somebody does and screams, staying to start filming, as we see that, like, the dude's got a fucking umbrella in his head, which kind of fits with what Rabbit was kind of using. And she's like, damn, he was a really good kisser. You are a broken person, Felicia says. So we've got a problem in the kitchens, as you probably heard. I'm going to get everybody to take off your tech and just chill. It's like, Spidey, same responsible kind of stuff. But then everybody else is like, not really, man. I'm not going to jail. I'm not taking this shit off. It's like, I kind of understand that. Spidey's like, you installed remote kill switches, right? Would it surprise you to learn I can barely turn on my phone? It's like, then you shouldn't be the one running the ops shit, okay? Like, if you need your tech person if you're dealing with tech to make sure that they do that shit for you. So now we've got Spidey and Felicia having to deal with strange, weird startup people that have access to villain tech that has no kill switch, and they could probably unlock if they got enough time for it. So it's kind of going to be like a race to see who kind of like is able to stop these villains. Well, not villains. People with villain tech. Since we've got somebody that's at least dead at this moment. Now, granted, he has Mysterio's kind of stuff, so he could potentially be faking his death with the Mysterio tech. We'll have to kind of see. This was just a crazy little thing that I'm like, okay, this is a fun little side thing. Now, granted, I do know that we are going to, in about like the 20s of these issues, get the understanding of what did Peter do, thankfully. But until we get to that point, I do like this exploration of Pete's and Felicia's relationship, how it goes fuckballs nutty, and how they're dealing with Rabbit and Kareem and this whole kind of crazy scenario. I'm like, yeah, I'm enjoying this, and I can't wait to see how this kind of ends up. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.